I think a lot of people just don't realise how quick it is. They think because it's an old car, it's slow, and it really, honestly, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's really fast. I think it's just a generational thing. You know, I've been brought up going to race meetings, going to hill climbs, and I just love the atmosphere at those meetings. I built an Austin 7 Ulster when I was 17. It really started there. It was incredible. I remember starting up for the first time. It was the middle of summer. It was a lovely warm day. I was just in the car, I put it together, I knew everything about it. Just that feeling of being able to create something and then to enjoy it afterwards is enormously satisfying. From there, it sort of developed into racing. So it's very much a sort of family thing, really. We, you know, we both work on the cars and love that side of it. No, nothing. There's something fundamentally wrong there. It's great working with Dad. I mean, he's got so much experience, particularly of Delahayes. You know, he's had them for 40 odd years. It's good to, you know, bounce ideas around and help. You know, he helps with some of the mechanical side of things. A bit rough, a bit cold. This particular Delahaye is a 135 CS, so it's the short competition sport model. The chassis is different, it's lighter, it's drilled. The engine itself has a competition cylinder head. That's of the MS, which is the Modi Special cylinder head. It does, you know, you really do increase the horsepower of the engine by putting on the racing cylinder head. It also turns it to a 3 carburetor engine as well. The inlet ports are Siamesed, so it just improves induction and just all-round breathing of the engine itself. Semi-independent front suspension, much like the standard car, slightly adjusted with improved brakes, shock absorbers and drums, racing back axle ratio, shortened back axle, narrowed, racing 4-speed gearbox. It's just really planted. You feel really confident driving it on the road. The handling's really advanced on the Delhaye. In particular, the front suspension is semi-independent, so I do benefit from that. And what I lack in acceleration, I do gain in the corners just through handling, really. It's still as good, if not better, than it was the day it was made. A lot of the cars have been continually improved and benefit from sort of modern developments, really, in metal technologies, etc. Have made them more reliable, and it's just a great thing to drive. You don't really feel like you're driving something that's sort of 70 or 80 years old. I think this passion is timeless, really. It spans the generations. It doesn't matter whether you're old or young. The passion for cars and motorsport, particularly vintage cars, is there. There are more young people involved in vintage cars now than there ever have been. It's really nice to go back and look at a bygone era, but then not to dwell on it either, you know, just to enjoy the car in the moment. It doesn't matter whether it was built in 1928 or 1958. It's about enjoying the car, enjoying the feeling of the car, and enjoying what they bring. This car in particular is special for a number of reasons, really. My dad's always had an interest in French vintage cars, and I suppose the Delahaye French sports car racing was a bit of an unsung hero, really. They competed in period, you know, very successfully. Won Le Mans 24-hour in 1938. I think really the styling, the way it drives, it's a very good all-round racing car. You could drive to the race meeting in it and compete, win the race, and then drive home again without any concerns about mechanical failure or reliability issues. I feel a large amount of responsibility, really, taking the car out on the road. You know, you've got to be careful with other drivers. We are custodians of these cars for future generations. You know, it's really important to look after it, really. But, you know, not be too precious. You know, we've been using the car today, we've been out on the road. You know, it's not exactly brilliant weather, but yeah, we like to use the car and enjoy it, and not be too precious. It's not a museum piece, it's something to be used. it's so hard to describe what it's like, because there's no real way of getting across the feelings you have when you drive a vintage racing car. You know, you're sitting on the grid, waiting for the flag to drop or the lights to go out, and you're not really thinking about anything else that's happening other than what you're about to do. And I suppose you feel quite peaceful in that moment. You feel that you don't have any other worries other than just driving. And there's something quite liberating about that feeling. There's a huge amount of commitment and time and effort that goes into preparing a pre-war sports car, but I think it pays off. You know, the amount of time you spend in the garage equates to the amount of pleasure you get from the track. I really enjoy coming in here in the evenings. It helps me switch off. It's just an enjoyable experience being able to work on something as beautiful as these cars. Driving this as opposed to a modern car, you feel low, you feel like you're doing 200 miles an hour and you might be doing 70. It's really, you feel like there's nothing else going on in the world. You just feel completely connected with the road, with the experience, with the car. Every gear change feels smooth, and the gearbox feels reactive, and the steering feels reactive. You know, you feel the road underneath you, you feel the progress you're making, and I feel that driving this is so engaging as opposed to just sitting in a modern box, you know, just going from A to B. I think the thing that really groups us as sort of vintage car enthusiasts and racers is just a love of mechanical things. You know, we enjoy the process of working on the cars, and we enjoy using them, whether that be on the road or racing them at circuits. It's not just a hobby. You know, we spend so much time in the garage working on the cars, and we spend a lot of weekends competing at meetings. You know, it's a lifestyle as opposed to just a hobby.